Normal Lifestyle Station, City 1051. And yes, so we are still serving you breakfast hot this morning. And as a matter of fact, right now we are being joined by a very, very special person.
I mean, is there a better word for special?
Yeah,
That is
fantastic.
a very special, fantastic, amazing person in the studio.
That's right. Now, this is someone who has over 18 years of experience in leading and driving commercial excellence. Not just that, she's an accomplished business leader. She's also, her expertise spans from marketing to sales, channels and strategic management, leadership and people capacity, development, also digital and media management and digital business transformation.
And that's not all. If we keep reading, we might not be able to read all of it today.
No
but hey,
way.
she started
No
a career in academia and had a brief stint in aviation before a long, fruitful journey in FMCG, starting with Nestle Nigeria PLC. In her current role, she heads Sub-Saharan Africa Cluster Digital, Media and Insights, and has overseeing responsibility for digital transformation across 45 countries and 14 brands in Sub-Saharan Africa, Sub-Saharan Cluster at the foremost dairy company in the world.
Now, in all of this, she still has time to put words together and write
make a book.
Because she's an author. She's the author of The Polished Gem and Ponder on These. Her name is Ifeoluwa Esther Obafemi. Good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning.
I mean, we had to give that a round of applause because, reading your profile is...
That got me giggling. I wasn't expecting
Can you
it.
come a little bit closer to the microphone? Yes, we want to hear your sweet voice, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us a bit about yours. Of course, we read your profile a minute ago, and like Tage said, if we continued, we'll probably not leave here today. But then again, you might want to tell us something about yourself that perhaps people do not know.
I think you've read a significant part of my profile. Well, I'm married and I have two lovely boys, 13 and 11. I grew up, I am the first of four, so with two boys, two girls, and I love to read, and I have also, I'm a visionary for a book club, which started like 5 years ago, and we're span across 5 continents of the world. And I think we are like 120 members now. So that's if it is something people maybe would not know from the profile you just read.
Yes.
I want to say congratulations on the launch of your 3 books. Bringing out 3 books at once. How does it feel to see your work in the world right now?
It is awesome, and not just awesome in that it took me time to get to this point. I recall that I started writing, stopped, life gets busy, have married, children, and it's a big feat to let the 3 books to birth them. Let me use the word now. Last year, August, and I've just been, piping low, trying not to. I mean, it's when people see me and then they talk about the accomplishment, I do not really, as much as I am grateful, but until I hear people talk about how big an accomplishment it is before, I then say, okay, all glory be to God. And I am here, yes.
You're putting so much work in this.
It is a lot.
And it shows.
I'm telling you. Now, we spoke about your expertise earlier on, and we can see that, it spans from marketing, sales, people capability development. What inspired you to be an author?
Good question. I said something about loving to read books. I grew up in a home where we have bookshelves everywhere. So for me, I believe there's a lot of wisdom loaded in books. With reading books while I was growing up, it took me, it places me many years ahead of my peers. And it's more or less like you have someone else's experience now merged or condensed into a book, and you have the privilege of reading it, consuming it, and then making better your own life. And I thought, and if I just cast my mind back to when I started my career, and it wasn't a time of this much coaches when you have coaches online, career mentors. So it was more or less like I'm trying to read and get things done by myself. I couldn't at that time say, oh, I have a mentor per se or a coach. And most people don't even want to teach others, if I can use the word teach, or coach others. They're also busy. Like most people who are like some years ahead of me in career, and they're so busy that they don't think that the concept of mentoring other people is a plus to them. So, for me, I thought the upcoming generation do not necessarily have to get into a pitfall that I survived if they can lay their hands on my book. So it places them several years also ahead of their peers. So what I have, for example, in Polished Gem is a professional book, is helping people who are just getting into corporate, getting into the career line, to learn how to navigate from their first year into when they now say to themselves, I think I can be a manager. And when they become that manager, or before they become the manager, what do they need to do to become sought out? Because you will definitely have many people who are competing for a spot in leadership. So what will make you stand out to then be like the sought out, the distinguished person? You would find it in the book Polished Gem. And how then to navigate your first year as a leader, as a manager in a team, managing people who maybe previously are your peers. They were your peers. So how then do you then manage them? How do you survive your first year and second year? How then do you prepare also for your next level? So this book is sort of chronological from when people get into, start of their career, or even before they even get into career. How then will they get selected by top companies, multinationals? It would give ideas of what they need to do on themselves, on their minds, also about the learning, things that they could also learn, and knowledge they can glean from others to place them years ahead. So that's how the book is laid out, up to senior management. Like Polished Gem, what I have there as a caption is learning the ropes and navigating the bend to the sea world. You know what the sea world is? Becoming a chief operating officer, chief executive officer, chief marketing officer, and the likes. So loaded, Polished Gem.
Amazing. If I could give this book my own name, I'd give it Holy Grail, or the blueprints, because there's a whole lot to learn from it. And I see how passionate you are talking about, navigating from one career to the other, becoming a manager and all that stuff. Tell us, how was the process of writing these books?
So it didn't just happen in a day or in 1 year or 2 years. Like I tell people, interestingly, I was writing the 3 books concurrently. Actually, you can say there are 2 books, because one of them is a volume 1 and volume 2.
Okay.
So you can say we can just call them 2 books. Ponder on these 1 and 2, and then Polished Gem. I was writing them concurrently, and it is expected, because I am a believer. I'm a lover of Jesus Christ, and I believe one thing for sure, that Bible says we should guard our hearts with all diligence, for out of it comes the issues of life. And I said to myself, okay, if everything that has to do with life and living world, the choices I make, I'm sure we make more than 35,000 choices every day.
Every day.
I should only allow things that are pure, things that are honest, things that are of good report. And now I'm talking about pondering this, because it is linked to Philippians 4 verse 8. And that's where I got the inspiration from. So if you pick up the copy of the book, you see ponder on these, inspiration from Philippians 4 verse 8, for excellence in life and marketplace. And this book has 365 nuggets that you can pick each day and ponder on. That when you ponder, I was speaking with a friend yesterday. I said people do meditation, people do yoga, they do it for well-being, physical well-being. They said they want to let off negative energy. But when you pick up the Word of God, we pick up books that will help you, think more like a God in your field of interest, and then or your field or your calling or the marketplace where God has placed you in. Then it helps you make firm decisions, sound decision. Like if you just read one of 3 or 5 of the points here, so you will see items like how do you weigh yourself, how do you diversify your talents, being your best self. That's for day 59. That's if you decide to pick each of the nuggets for each day. So then you say, are you a two-faced Christian? Then you should then also say, this says, is it urgent? So there are things that in our life that are just passing, and then we try to put priority urgent on them, which shouldn't be. So this, if you just read, just most of them are one pager. So you just look at them. Are you grateful? How do you correct others in love? And you would say that a lot of these nuggets, you can apply them also in your professional space.
Life.
Exactly. Say, how do you correct others in love? You have a team member, for example, who needs to be given feedback. So you give feedback from the place of love, not from a punitive, point of view, but the fact that you want the person to really improve. And it all starts, and for me, it starts and ends with the Word of God. If you're really, really a wholesome person, then to be excellent in the marketplace will just be a walk in the park.
Now, when we look at your book, you have, diverse characters and rich characters, I must say. Tell us about, the inspiration behind some of these characters.
So a lot of the characters, especially in Polish Gem, are real life characters, but I just decided to not put a name to them. Sure. Like if you open some of the pages, what you would see is, I can just say someone in came, and apologies to all in came. Maybe not apologies, because I might just give a very good example. In came has just recently attained a manager position. So today is in our first office. Like if I just pick one of the, give a moment and then just read it out. You see. It's been a few months since Kemi had been promoted and saddled with the responsibility of leading a team. The company was going through a change, and they had recently acquired some new business, and that's how the story is laid out. Then when I am done with setting that case study, if we might call it that, then now, don't put questions forward on if you're in that similar situation or the exact situation, how can you get out of it? So now the question here for Kemi is that the question was, how could she help her team become better as a cohesive unit? So this is someone who has a team where there's always conflict. And it's more or less getting to her because they're always reporting each other. So, and on this chapter, which is chapter 5 of the book, you can already find how to build a cohesive team.
Wow. I was going to say your books have rich and diverse characters, in Kim, there are names on it. Can you tell us about the inspiration behind some of these characters? Are they real people? Or are they people that, you just came up with in your head? So
some of the characters are fictional, then some maybe not non-fictional, but I think most of them, and that is why if you look at the synopsis of the summary of the book, so what you would see there is they're from their real life example as well as the author's observations, learnings, and experiences to teach leaders and aspiring leaders how to navigate their careers and the growth that comes with it. So there are both fiction and non-fictional characters.
Amazing stuff. Now take us through the launch experience now of this of your books now, because tell us how you've been able to engage readers in the literary community. How you making them know more about your books and encouraging them to actually go read these books.
So I let this book out of the labor room last year, August.
Okay, interesting. Interesting.
And before even the launch, I think I have really solid people who are very interested in making sure that this happens, that the push and the birthing happens. So I'm grateful to them. A number of solid people in my support system. And they are most of them have been instrumental in helping me put the words out My being here today is also like from a former colleague who set up this conversation with my friend, your Dodger, your MD, and to say this book has a lot of blessings that a lot of people need. Why don't you let it out? So just now, that's a year after. So I'm beginning to let people see people in the literary community. I mentioned having a book club. I lead a book club, which we have a monthly book review. So most of them also know about the book, and they're putting it out there in the different sphere of influence. So it hasn't been. No, I haven't really been out. So of course, the book is available on Seller, Amazon. So I'm putting some ad here and there for people to. I have a really busy life as a professional, so I only have maybe just about 10% of my weekends for driving the book and traction. So I'm happy to be here. So it's like more or less my first on-air experience.
I mean,
interesting.
I feel like this book should have a community of people, coming together, sometime every weekend to read and, understand this, ponder in it. These are things that people need in the real world to excel. And, talking about, the life of God, the God in us, the God that puts us in our different places.
Absolutely.
We need that figure, and we need people who will remind us constantly that, these are what we need.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, it's no doubt that you inspire people, right? With what you've done so far, and it's awesome, it's great. But what's your message to aspiring authors, those who probably want to toe the line of yours?
So I think I missed a point earlier, which I was going to add, because it's not easy to write, even if you're typing, it's a lot of work. So what I'm going to say to aspiring authors, maybe because I'm also in the digital transformation, I am a strong enthusiast in that regard, is use technology. At some point, when I got tired, what gave me speed actually was the use of technology. At some point, I had to do audio recording, and it was transcribed, into text. That gave me speed. But sometimes just get tired, fatigued. You've worked all day, so I may just be trying to rest from day's work, and I'm like, I need to really get this. I have some things in my head. I need to, either get it out in text or record it in audio. So and that's how I compiled all but audio, text, and then my publisher did a great work, putting it together, and then also the proofreading and all of that. So my advice to aspiring authors is, if you are having maybe not author's block, but fatigue, putting down what you have in your head, because there's no block. You have, the juice is flowing, but how do you then put it down? Just enable yourself, use technology to gain speed.
And I was about to say be faster.
Be faster, yes.
You've talked about this book. We've talked about some pages in the books, and what would you want people to know before we wrap up? What would you want them to know that's in this book? For those listening now and saying, why should I get this book? What is that thing inside, that you as an author would say, this is why you should get this book?
Excellent. I mentioned on Polished earlier that you have not just my experience, but experiences of others. So if you put together combined experience, so maybe over 100 years, so that is something for whoever wants to have an advantage in life. So lay your hands on Polished Gem. You would find it interesting. It's easy read. The texts in the book are very, very, easy to read, easy to glean through.
I can see that, and the cover page is amazing.
So it's
really attractive.
Exactly.
In this case, we are judging the book with its cover.
With its cover now, you see, the cover just has to be fine before people, get to see what is in the book.
Yeah.
So, and that is already properly done. there is also the e-version. So if you go on Seller, Amazon, so for some people like e-version, of course, you can also turn it to audio, so that whenever you're busy at work or busy somewhere, you just want to, make sure that you're also learning, your brain is busy and active. Then you can take the e-version, which you can also make. You can also have in the audible version. That's for Polish Gem. And same for Ponder. Ponder on this is a faith-based book, and I tell you, everything that links to what you see, it starts from the inside, and that is how we manifest. So if you do not have the right heart and mind, that is how people become mediocre, and excellence it's difficult to be seen in them. So if excellence is your target in life and in your journey, you have some mind work to do, and ponder on this 1 and 2 excellent resource for you. So that would be my advice.
Where can we get these books?
So they're available on Seller and Amazon. So immediately you just make your payments, online payments. The designated person in my team gets and then you get your book in 24 hours or 48, depending. If you're in Lagos, 24 hours. Outside of Lagos, 48 hours. Depending on the distance of the city.
Okay.
And we have people also who are ordering in the UK, in Canada. So the books are already with certain people in key cities. So it's just to put your address, and then in Canada, Australia, and in the USA.
All right, we must say a very big thank you to you, Ifeoluwa Esther Obafemi, for coming to inspire us this morning. And I must plead with you not to stop inspiring people.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. I feel like reading more of your profile, but there's so much. You've achieved so much, and that is what anybody stands to achieve in these books. Your experiences and other experiences that you've read as well. As a good reader, you are indeed a good leader. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You're a wonderful host too. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. All right, still breakfast in the city. We still have more. Stay here.